Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Learn with Liz. And today I am so excited because I have Mr. Michael Barb Mathews joining me. I'm excited. I'm excited. Before we get started, don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. Share this information with somebody else. Hello, Mr. Michael Barb Mathews. How are you today?
Hello, Dr. Liz. I'm fantabulous, and it's a pleasure to be with you here today on this beautiful Thursday morning in the universe.
Well, I am absolutely thrilled and excited. Let me tell y'all why I'm so excited. Mr. Michael Bart Mathews is my coach and my mentor, and I want to say my teacher, and I'm also happy to call him my friend. And so I'm excited today to have you here. And wow, we're just going to flip it over into your court. And can you just tell us a little bit about, who you are and why it's such a, well, I guess it would be for me to say why it's such a pleasure and honor to have you here today, but just let everybody know, who is Mr. Michael Bart Mathews?
Well, thank you, Dr. Liz. My name is Michael Bart Mathews, and I am the co-founder of the Mathews Entrepreneur Group, along with my wife, Robbie Mathews, who is the president, and I am the CEO. I'm also the founder of another company, We Create Books. And with We Create Books, my team and I empower you to tell your story, to get your book out of your head, get it published, and get it read. So don't think local, think global. We do a plethora of other things like real estate investing, cryptocurrency investing, and helping people like Dr. Liz to become authors. And congratulations on your new authorship in your book. It's Smoothie Time. Dr. Liz Blanding did all of the work, and she was very coachable. So that's part of what my signature series is and my gold medal talent is among all of the things that we do. Thank you, Dr. Liz.
Awesome, awesome. And I cannot have a show without, or an episode without, just thanking Miss Robbie Bart Matthews, well, not Bart Matthews, but Miss Robbie Mathews for, for sharing you with us, upcoming authors, aspire authors, and to help get us to where, where we need to go, and I always have to throw in this little story about the cover, because she was so phenomenal with helping me to get, I talk about this, my original idea was to have fruit floating all through the air and bouncing and shooting out of cannons, with my creativity. And she said, how about we put them in the glass? And so putting them in the glass turned out a lot better than shooting fruit all over the place. So I'm so grateful for the team. But so for today, though, we are going to concentrate and focus on understanding the importance of relationship capital. And it's something that, I knew about it, but I didn't know how to categorize it. And I definitely didn't know how to, articulate it. So can you explain to us what the relationship capital is all about, and why that's such a key factor in growth, and what is that all about?
Well, relations, because first of all, everyone has a story to tell, and you never judge a book by its cover, even though the cover of It's Smoothie Time is an awesome cover, and you can judge that book by its cover because the content of the book is just as good as the cover on the outside. But in relationship capital building, you never judge a person by how they may look. And with that being said, a person who may look like they're down on their luck can be the next multimillionaire sitting on a bench, and they may not need nothing from you. But they're just sitting out there making a test to see who's going to treat them like a regular human being and win the prize that I want to give to that person who shows relationship capital that's above reproach, regardless of how a person looks. Just to give you one example. And number two is relationship capital should be something, well, how can I help and how can I serve? Rather than saying what's in it for me, to build the needed relationship capital to actually receive the gifts from the universe and your God and your spiritual creator that you particularly believe in. I'm not here to lead you one way or the other, but I am here to say that there's something bigger than you and bigger than me, meaning your internal guidance system, that aha moment of clarity. That little person sits on your shoulder, but maybe God just opening the door that you knocked on and showing you a vision of what can happen because of the right relationship capital and making the right contact with the right person at the right place at the right time for the right reasons. So those are all quick scenarios of the importance of why building relationship capital is so important, A, in your business life, and B, in your personal life. Dr. Liz?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that I love what you said about how can I help and how can I serve, because that is exactly what I've experienced with, with working with you and, just putting it into focus. And your two books, which I absolutely keep right here on my shelf, which I'm going to pull out. The two that I keep, well, actually there's three of yours that I keep here right on my shelf because I think it's so. The third one is it's probably at home. I'm probably at home somewhere. But these the two that I have right here in front of me is the Finding Your Moment of Clarity. And as you can tell, when I read my books, I really read my books. So Finding Your Moment of Clarity. And also the other one that I have here right here is Harness the Power of Purpose. This one right here. And I think it's so important that we know that because we do have to come from a place of clarity. And then when the opportunities to meet someone such as yourself, it's a clear path. It's already kind of like, okay, this is the way that it's supposed to be. It was destiny. So I think those are important key points. And also when we talk about the relationship capital part, the integrity, and I say that every time I have the opportunity to speak with you because that's something that you walked out from day one. And that's something that I hold dear to my heart because finding somebody that is, that is real, that is true, that actually really believes in how can I help? How can I serve? People say it all day long, but to actually meet someone that's actually walking it out, that's amazing to me. And I thank you for that.
Well, thank you, thank you. In the words of Earl Nightingale, we become what we think about. So whatever you think, Napoleon Hill, whatever the man of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. So if you truly want to build the needed relationship capital that can propel you from where you are to where you want to be, because there's no I in team, and together everyone achieves more. And to have a team that's winning championships, that relationship capital on that team, from the owner of the team, from the coach of the team, from the assistant coach, from the water boy, to the scout, to the 15th man sitting on the end of the bench who never gets any time until they're up 40 points. He's still an integral part of the team. And that's part of what relationship capital is all about. If you look at your family as a team, you look at your tribe or community as a team, and you look at your business partners as a team. If you put all that into a crock pot and stir it all up, the word relationship capital is the secret sauce for making it all work.
Wow, wow, I like that. I like that. You have a couple of poems that really resonated with me, and it was one of the ones that I read in Finding Your Moment of Clarity. I think that what can you tell us what interests you in poetry?
Well, when I was a young man, I just used to see some nice looking young ladies when I was in grammar school. And one of the ladies actually kept the poems. And 35 years later, I ran into her in Chicago and she told me, you used to can write when you was a kid, really good. She said, I got some stories to tell next time you get on the bus, because I was a bus operator for the Chicago Transit Authority. So I said, bring them. So she got one and showed it to me. And I broke down and cried at that young age that those words were coming out of my young mouth. They were all respectful, don't get me wrong. And just to continue that into my adult life, doing what I'm doing now with We Create Books, I had dismissed that because my real passion was becoming a professional basketball player and following that dream. So I put writing and poetry and all that aside just to achieve that dream. But then as I got older, one of my coaches, Dr. James Dentley, challenged me. He said, Mike, you and your wife do 100% of you all's businesses together. He says, there's nothing wrong with that because it keeps the relationship capital and the marriage together, but you have your own gold medal talent. You need your own business, and she should too. 2 weeks later, I came back and I started We Create Books, something I had been doing all my life for free anyway. So this is a relationship capital tip for you listeners, a pro tip. If you want to go in business, look at something that you're already doing, something that you're passionate about, and you're already doing it for free. So that means if you're doing it for free, you're serving. How can I help? How can I serve? Remember that question? So if you're already doing it for free, you're already helping and you're already serving. So you've paid your dues back to the universe so far. So the universe will turn around and bless you if you can turn that passion into profit and start a business with something you already are currently doing.
That is awesome. That's awesome because that is something that you taught me, as far as this smoothie time, creating smoothie recipes. And I love to help people, and I love to see people turn their health around and reset their bodies. So, you taught me how to do something that I love, which, I mean, I love to write. I've been writing, for years and years, but just to actually put it into print and to go through the whole steps of becoming a published author was such an amazing, incredible experience. And I'm so grateful because I tell the story about, I'd been writing before 95, 96, actually started writing journals and things when I was young or young girl. And then just kept putting my writings back on the shelf because I didn't feel that I could trust someone with it, because allegedly the story goes that, Forrest Gump's story, he didn't get all the monies that he could have gotten from it because he settled for a check with a few zeros on it. So when I met you and, you kind of walked me through and held my hand through the process, it was that doing something that you love and, and putting it out there so that it can help and it can actually serve others. So you actually walked me through that. So any aspiring, author, if you're looking to get your work actually, out of your head so that it can be read, right? I'm telling you, this is the team that can do that for you. For me to feel, just a little secret, lean in. I had trust issues. and so, in my healing process, and me praying for help, Mr. Michael Bart Mathews has been such a blessing and such a pleasure to work with, and just helping me to understand, because what, it's so important to have someone that has actually been through the process, that know the steps to be able to mentor and coach you and help you to, pull out that gift that's already inside of you and actually to help your voice to be heard. I think it was Lisa Nichols that said if our voices weren't meant to be heard, God wouldn't have given us volume in our voice. So, I just think that it's a wonderful, service that you provide. And I'm just excited to be one of the authors in your I guess say pipeline, or however you want to call it, or in your family, in your author family. I'm excited about that. I can't wait. I already got started on my next manuscript, because you've made it such a process that I know that it can happen from beginning to end. If it can happen for me, everybody, it can happen for any of you as well. You just have to lean in and be coachable and work through the process.
Well, thank you. I'm actually looking forward to working with you on your second book. You've told me a little bit about it. I'm very excited and enthused and waiting to I'm chomping at the bits to read it. So I can't wait. But it's okay if I share a quick story with you and our listeners?
Oh, absolutely. Please do.
My wife and I are staunch students of the Napoleon Hill Foundation, and we also traveled on the Think and Grow Rich tour that came through Chicago with Dr. James Dentley, Sir John Shin, and Sharon Lecter, just to name a few. But let me give you a little bit of background about that relationship capital. Now, Andrew Carnegie gave Napoleon Hill a challenge and said, are you willing to work for 20 years with no pay and learn from the best of the best and brightest minds in this era and come up with a book called Think and Grow Rich? He said yes. Now, in order for him to do that, he had to learn and understand and build relationship capital with people who were way over his league and his education and income. But that did not stop him. So 20 years later, the first Think and Grow Rich version came out. Now let's pass that on to Dr. Dennis Kimbrough. When Napoleon Hill passed on, he was writing a manuscript, Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice. for African Americans and Black people all around the world. So he sanctioned that book to Dr. Dennis Kimbrough. Well, the Napoleon Hill Foundation sanctioned that book to Dr. Dennis Kimbrough. Why? Because Dr. Dennis Kimbrough built relationship capital with the Napoleon Hill Foundation as being a leader, and they thought he would be one of the great people to pass that on, the Think and Grow Rich for Black people book for Americans. Also, Sir John Shin, some of the same things. He also wrote How Rich Asians Think, which is also a Napoleon Hill Foundation sanctioned book, but he wrote it for Asians. And then you have Sharon Lecter. She wrote Think and Grow Rich for Women, who wrote Think and Grow Rich for Women, which is also a Napoleon Hill Foundation sanctioned books. So why am I saying all of this about these people? And I'm an author and I have my own books, because you do not reinvent the wheel, number one. Number two, you have to learn and teach and grow from the people who have already blazed a trail. Number three, some of these people, except for Napoleon Hill, except for his writings and tapes, I have not met him in the flesh. I haven't met Dr. Dennis Kimbrough in the flesh, but on videos. But I've met everybody else that I've spoken about and learned and teach and was taught from them. So for me to also have relationship capital ingrained in me from the 50 plus years of service that my mother did to Bray Temple Church in Chicago before she passed away, it's easy for me to understand what relationship capital is, and it's not about me. It's about sharing and caring. So you, the listeners, if you understand the true value of your relationship capital and the importance of how can I help and how can I serve, and not what's in it for me first, because Zig Ziglar also said that it's relatively safe to say that both oxygen and money on the got to have it scale. But he also says, how can I help and how can I serve?
Such rich information. And you all, this is something else that I learned. You know, there's nuggets that are being dropped, and in order for us to reinforce that learning, it's important that we write it down. So my book here is filled. I'm just sitting here and I'm taking notes still, and I, absolutely, and that's what I learned from you as well, is to go and stock up on the composition books, because you never know when you're going to get a nugget and you say, okay, I'm going to categorize this, and being organized with your notes is so wonderful, because you can always go back to it as a reference tool. So I cherish my notes and I cherish my books. Now I might buy you a copy, but you're not going to get my copy. Yeah. So something else that I heard you say, I heard you say as you were talking, it's important in relationship capital to take care of and cherish your relationships.
Yes, it's more than a notion, instead of, especially when you first meet a person, because like Dr. Liz says, she has trust issues. And it wasn't personal against me or Robbie or my company. It's because of how society is today, due to COVID-19, due to people losing their jobs, due to just the low economy, just due to people just needing money. The level of integrity when you in personal relationships and business relationships, and I hate to say it, but I'm gonna put it out there, including in your family, is lacking. It's very lacking. So when you first meet somebody, the name of the game is to be authentic, be a person of integrity, and speak the truth. Because when they Google you, you want to make sure that whatever they find, if it's something you said, it's the truth. It's not just you're disclosing things, because you can't tell everybody everything, but at least what you tell them, make sure it's something that is Googleable, which I don't know if that's a word or not, I'll just say it.
It is now.
It is now Googleable. So you come out the same as that person of integrity. And you wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't have it any other way at all. So that's how Dr. Liz and myself and my wife really got to become friends first, and then actually business partners on several other ventures, which we won't name on this show right now, but they're up and coming unless Dr. Liz wants to share the good news. I'll leave that up to her. But if it wasn't for the word relationship capital and Mike being able to be a married man with a wife, but also be a businessman and a friend to Dr. Liz when my wife wasn't around, which broke down the trust issues that we had. Because we know, man, look at Dr. Liz. She's an eye catcher, gentlemen. Come on, let's be honest. So most men don't know how to understand the word relationship capital goes for. It can be anybody that you're associating with. First, as I'm talking to men, you must know who you are as a man first, whether you're married or single, in order to respect a woman. And that's how I am. I know who I am when I'm with my wife. I know who I am without my wife. I act the same exact way. So whenever I'm with somebody I meet, when I'm not with my wife, I don't have to change when I'm with my wife. Because what you see is what you're going to get. Authenticity, integrity, and respect. And if I make a mistake, I apologize. Then we keep it moving. Right, Dr. Liz?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I want to touch on that point too, because that was one of the things that, again, that broke down that trust barrier wall that I had built up. That was one of the things that made me say, here we go, and just be able to trust you with my book, was because, I knew Ms. Robbie Mathews before I even met her in person. And I just thought that was just so amazing and incredible. I have worked with several men in different industries, and this level of integrity that Mr. Michael Bart Mathews it displays, I've actually personally experienced it. So when I got to actually meet Ms. Robbie Mathews, it was like I already knew her because he had already done such a eloquent job of making sure that that she was in a part of the mix, whether she was in person or whether she was not there. So I thought that was so admirable, and I respected him for that. And so, again, that is a way that you build up the relationship capital, because it's not always just what you say, but it's what you do. It's what your actions show. So that is one of the things that you look for when you're starting to build relationship capital with folks. So I think that's wonderful. So I take my hat off to you for that.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. Just to dive a little bit deeper into that, I met Dr. Liz we are involved in another business opportunity, and that's where I met Dr. Liz and our cousin CISO as well. And we formed a virtual relationship, and then one of the corporate managers of the company introduced me directly to Dr. Liz because he knew about my We Create Books business, and he knew Dr. Liz wanted to write a book. So there started a more personal relationship other than business, but the key word was the introduction. So when you are respected and you introduce somebody in your tribe, in your community, to somebody else, that's passing the authority from you to them because you introduce them. So therefore the guard is still up, but they're willing to walk across the big bridge because of the person who introduced you. And that helped as well to break down the relationship capital barrier and trust issue that Liz has experienced with other people. And as you can see, she didn't put everybody in the same bucket, not even me, but she did the right thing. And I encourage each and every woman to do the same thing. Keep your guard and your shield up until he passes the integrity test. It doesn't have to necessarily be with you. It can be in public. And how did I actually pass that test with Liz and most other women? It's because I consider myself a champion for women, whether I'm with my wife or without my wife. And what I always do, whether I'm speaking internationally on stage or speaking on a Zoom call, is when they ask me to speak about anything, I try my best without fail to say 10, 15, 20, 30 seconds about my wife, how she's doing. She's my business partner, my soulmate, and I wouldn't be the man that I am without her. Even though I know in my heart that I would be successful, I would not be like I am now without her feminine leadership. So when I say this on all the calls, a lot of the men call me up and say, Mike, you're breaking the man law code. I said, that's the problem. The men wrote the daggone code in the first place without no women sitting at the table.
That's good.
So, yes, and I love my men because I'm one, and I love my women, but you all are natural leaders. You all have that sixth sense that you were born with, that a man just never was born with, you never can experience. But yet we try to talk about it and suggest to you how you should be, do, and have based on a manly view versus an internal, universal frequency, spiritual view. So I guess I'll stop there for now.
Well, I'm telling you, I start writing notes when you start talking, and I just, I keep going because I'm an avid student. I love learning, especially good, solid information. And I think what you just shared, if our men just lean into that, we become so successful together. That's what we're talking about relationship capital, the different components and the different pieces, something that's one person is good at on your team, the other person can be, good at what they do, and now you just got the perfect, combination. I'll share this story. Years ago, I love to cook, and so I would do all the when I used to eat meat, and I would do the barbecue grill, and I would do all of that. So I would have knee pads on, and I'd be running from the front to the back, going to the grill and doing the sides in the front, making sure that I was hosting and everything. I'm telling you, I needed a week's vacation just for a day's event. But I used to run through, and I used to take care of all of that. Then it dawned on me one day. I said, wait a minute. You do all this cooking and everything. Everybody eat for maybe an hour or whatever, and then it's over. So I said, you know what? There's some great cooks in our family. So I started assigning everybody to a specific dish. And so, do you know, the nothing was ever burnt, nothing was ever ruined. The whole meal was actually fantastic. And I thought, wow, as we were talking, that was us building that relationship capital, because each person stood in their own lane. If you did potato salad well, go on and make a 5-pound thing of potato salad, or go on and you do your whatever you do best, bring it all to the table. And that's how that whole village of relationship capital works. Everybody's bringing what they bring to the table and do best, and now you have the perfect meal. Nobody is just wiped out tired afterwards. It's everybody working together.
And yes, that also reminds me of another point of relationship capital, another level, which I call the higher frequency level of relationship capital. And that's building relationship capital with the universe. So what do I mean about that? I mean, for you spiritual warriors, we say, knock and the door shall be open. Seek and ye shall find. Ask and it shall be given to you. So I mean, what you put in, you put out back to the universe. So if you put out garbage, you get garbage back in. So if you do good things and expect good things, and then good things happen, it's because of the bamboo tree story. When you planted the bamboo tree, it takes the caretaker to nurture it, plant it, grow it, and then nurture it over a course of 5 years. And the question is, at the end of the 5th year, does the bamboo tree grow 5 years, or does it grow in 16 weeks to be 39 feet tall? Or would have it grown at all without the relationship capital that the caretaker had while nurturing the seed over that course of time, planting the seed, putting the water on it, making sure it gets sunlight, and coming back to till the soil and ensuring that it had room to grow. So just like the caretaker had relationship capital with the seed and made it its mission, our mission, if you choose to accept it, is to make sure that we have a relationship capital with the universe, as well as each and every person that you meet. And it's not to say what they do, it's always what do we do? Because it's not what you do, it's what happens to you and how you respond to it that counts in building the right relationship capital.
Wow, that was amazing. I'm telling you, I'm going to repeat, I'm going to review and take down the little notes that I missed. And I charge everybody else out there to do the same thing. So if you were to sum up, I mean, not that you haven't already, because you've given us so much, and I feel a little guilty asking you for anything more, but we're going to do it, right, everybody? What would you say, if you were to leave our audience with something today, what would you leave in their minds? Food for thought.
The first food for thought is, if you know who you are, if you know your why, your reason or purpose, your goal or dream, and you understand your clarity and your mission in this life, why were you put here? We didn't ask to come here, but yet we're here. So what is the mission between now and what legacy will you leave, and how will you accomplish that legacy through building the right relationship capital with people you know and total strangers that you run into? Because all of us are just one person away from that success. And what do I mean by success? Another quick story. One of my coaches, who Dr. James Dentley, he's opened up so many doors, not just to my wife and I, but to everybody who was in the tribal community. But a lot of people don't walk through the doors. because we were willing to jump out of the airplane without a parachute. Forget building it on the way ground. We trust Dr. Dilley so much, we didn't even have a parachute because we knew we landed on fertile ground. We were able to just go literally meet people like Wesley Snipes, who actually kissed my wife on the jaw. And I said, look, if you kiss my wife on the jaw again, you're gonna make me a star on your next movie, partner. And we started laughing. It was no big deal. And Jeff Hoffman, who invented the kiosks at the airports, just to name a few people. And the only reason I'm saying these names is to let you know that I was not born from generational wealth. We came from the South Side of Chicago. And because of buying into not reinventing the wheel and being coachable. So I name these people because they're high-level coaches and they're pour into me like we're trying to pour into you about it's bigger than you. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than Dr. Liz. Find a mentor, find a coach, and get cracking.
And I guess I have to share my mentor and my coach, but I'm not a selfish person, but sometimes it's hard to share. But I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and share some information and nuggets with us, you know. And I want to definitely reinforce that, you know, if you all out there are watching, and you know, we all have a story, but if you're willing to get off the porch, then, you know, I'm going to put your company's information. We create books. I'm going to put that in the description box. So please be in contact with him, and, you know, he'll coach you and he actually holds your hand through the process. And I love that. And I love that it is your information, and it's just your information, you know, being shown on a big screen, if you will. So until next time, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And again, Mr. Mathews, I thank you for your time. This has been awesome. I can't wait. And you all, the best is yet to come. We're going to give you a little cliffhanger. He gave you one earlier, but the best is yet to come. Stay tuned and keep watching. Stay fearless, and bye for now.
Bye for now. Thank you, Dr. Liz.
Thank you.